Hello guys, welcome today for our first ever tutorial that we're gonna make on Surfer 13. So I just wanna quick rough off with what's Surfer 13. So Surfer 13 is mainly an application that is used for surveying in mining topographies and to be able to make sure that you get your maps done well. So one of the quick things that you might want to have a background on is have a background on maps, like what's on maps, like the contour ridges, the north pole that has to be put, the north pole points, and the gradual things, the basic things that you just gotta know on a map. So with that in mind, let's just get right off to the Surfer 13 on how to open it. So I have already got mine opened, and you have to have like a license to get this software application running your computer. So that's great to know if you have it, and if you don't, check it out, download it, and get to have it in your computer, because that is going to be really important for us when you do each and every step that you're going to do. So while it's opening, as I just said, mine is already opened. Sorry for that sound. And so I have mine opened already here, and what I'm just gonna go do is just a welcome to Surfer, and I'm just gonna right away and exit that. And as you can see, a plot just came right away when as I just closed it, because it just assumes you're just gonna start plotting when you have exited the welcome page. So these are like the drawing grid, which is here, is like automatically set. So I'm just gonna write there and delete it. You can see it just got deleted it. So drawing grid, it will be like wanting to make sure that you have everything according to the length and the measurements with the distance that are equal with what you have on your paper or from your project, whatever you're going to use Surfer for. So I'm just going to right away and just explaining the segments that I just write over here. I'm not going to explain all of them because this will be too much for the first video, so, or for the first tutorial I can say. So I'm just going to write out and tell you like what the file segment has in all. So it is all the file new. If we're going to to open a new plot here, and then it opens another, you say it writes plot 2, and this one, which was automatically opened, was plot 1. So file new, and then we have to open a worksheet that is here. If you have some data that you have to transfer from Excel to Surfer, you have every reason to transfer it, because we have been provided with this sheet style. So this is really great. And before I go out of the sheet style, you can see that we have an X, Y, and Z. So these are now our coordinates. We have X coordinate, Y coordinate, Z coordinate. As we know, on the map we have the Y coordinate, the X coordinate, and the Z coordinate. And for a quick mention, I want to mention that the Z coordinate and the X coordinate on the Surfer application and on the map, they're quite opposite. So the X axis that is showed on your map is generally the Y axis, and the Y axis showed on your map is generally just the Y axis. So they're just different, just the opposite of what's on your map and what you're going to be feeling on this Surfer sheet that you're offered here. And the Z coordinate is actually the same. Don't confuse those two. Z and Y, X and Y, sorry, they are opposite. Z is just the same. So going back to file here, we have open, close, and we're going to be using all these segments as we do our course, and as you go on with these other next coming videos. Importing, when you're importing from Excel or from any other application that you might be using, for example Google Earth, Micromine, Datamine, Serpac, any other kind of software that you have done your plotting, that you've done your program, that you've done your project on, and you might want to transfer it to Surfer, and you just have to save it with the Surfer file srf, and you are able to open it with Surfer without any hassle. And this is really important. So before mentioning page setup, let me go back to setup here, and I come back to file, and then I go to page setup. This is really going to be really important. It's going to be useful for us guys. And when you say custom, well, it automatically is on custom, so we can change and you can just play around with other page setup settings here, like letter, tablet, ledger, legal, executive. We can have R3, A3, A4, A5, A2, A1, A0, and now it's on custom. You see, and we can play around with our width and our height. And say portrait. If you want it on portrait, then you're good. Let's see. You can see it's not like the whole page that will change. It's just as the one that we're going to put our. Let me go ahead and remove this drawing grid. It's just not right for us. It's disturbing us. Yeah, so let's like this portrait. Let me take it back to landscape. You can see what is only changing this page, because if you're going to later on want to transfer your project to a paper, and then this will be the paper that you'll be transferring it on when you are printing out your project. So going back to file segment, here we are, and printing. Yeah, you just said it back then. These are some of the Serpac files that we're going to be using. They are on my name, and we're going to be using it to go on with these lessons and edit. Of course, there are some of these segment that will be in gray, and it's just general that we will know that we do not have an actual thing that will be running here, an actual project, an actual plot or sheet that will be running here, that allows us to use these gray segment that we have here, these gray options. So if we have something that we're going to use there, it will turn black, like select all, block sheet, invert selection, some of those. And view, like the page view, zooming, pan, so you can want to take your files, say moving it around, you can play around with it. And we have some of them around here, so I can just go ahead and quickly get back my mouse back. Yeah, and on drawing, on view, we hadn't finished on view. So toolbars, managers, do we have something that is important? Track cursor, we have it. And drawing, we can play around with this drawing and text, edit text. Let me go ahead and add. So when you say text, and then it gives you like a cursor where you want to put your text on, you can just click first left one click, and then it gives you. So I'm just gonna write there and write Surfer first tutorial that we're gonna be having, and say okay. All right, and press okay. You can see it's right over here, but the cursor is still open. You see that if I place somewhere, it's gonna give me another one. If I place here, it's gonna give me another one. So I'm gonna write here and take my mouse back and trying to then click around here and move it around. I can place it anyway, so I can, and then I just want to come over here and see we have the object manager and the property manager. I'm going to explain that on the next coming video. So let me just, you can zoom in and zoom out so that you can see how you can put your writings and your headings of any kind of plot that you might have had here. So a quick introduction of this several grid segments that we'll be having here. So on our second video, we're going to continue with the introduction on the other segments like grid, map, geo, processing tools, we need help, and all the stuff that we'll be having around here. It's actually not that hard, it's an easy, and really it can be more helpful, especially for the mining engineer students who would want to get into mining survey, on those kind of other like subjects or courses that they might be taking. So this is really useful, and not only for mining engineer students but for other engineering counterparts that will be studying for students or for graduates at the same time.